Hi, this is Ingress Agent 57 Cell, and I'd like to welcome you to part 3 of my 3-part video series on homogeneous fields or homogeneous fields. Now, part 1 was about what a homogeneous field is, why they're such incredibly amazing pieces of field art, if you like, and just some basic information about what they are. Part 2 was more about how to make them, how to choose which links you need to do, what order you need to do them, and so forth. So part 2 is the how of homogeneous fielding. Part 3, this part, well, if you've ever done an Ingress op, you know that a good link plan is just the beginning. So this part 3, is I want to talk about a particular operation we did in Perth, Western Australia in late 2017. A 6-layer homogeneous fielding operation. And I'll share a bit about what we learned, what mistakes were made, what went right, and hopefully you can learn from our experience and use that to put your own fielding operation together. So, but first a bit of background. 2017 saw the announcement of the XO5 anomaly series, and Perth, Western Australia, was one of the host cities. So on the resistance side, one of the people in charge, they asked me if I could put together a simple operation to get some of the agents familiar with the anomaly zone. So I looked up homogeneous fielding and I thought, yeah, that looks simple enough. And then I designed a link plan and thought, yeah, we can do this. It'll be easy.
It'll be easy, like breaking a toothpick.
Show me.
Well, the first lesson I learned about 6-layer homogeneous fields is don't underestimate the task. A 6-layer homogeneous field has as many links and portals as a 120-layer herringbone. And the links have to be made. The links have to be made exactly right. You can't skip any. You can't add any extra links. It has to be done exactly right. We had a dozen agents collect over 600 keys for the 124 portals in the operation. This had to be done within a month in the anomaly zone before an anomaly. So the keys had to be found quietly. We used as few mods as possible. So finally, and the keys had to be collected and sorted into the keys needed for each team. And there were no room for mistakes there. There wouldn't be time on the day for a team to go running around looking for extra keys. So we had to get that right. Finally, on Saturday, November the 4th at 7 o'clock in the morning, 5 ground teams rolled out, guided by 4 intel operators. And then this happened. That's right. We didn't get it done. We packed up our scanners, gathered at a local cafe, and decided to try again. That gave us 1 week to replace the 270 plus keys that we'd used, to sort them all over again, to distribute them again. We had to do this farming even more quietly now because we just demonstrated to the enlightened that we might be trying something. The teams had to be reorganised on short notice because some of the people couldn't make it the second time around. But everything was in place, and then on Sunday the 12th of November, the teams rolled out again at 6 o'clock in the morning this time, and this happened. We did it. We did it. So we tried twice, we failed once, we succeeded once. 50% is not bad. I found out later that our 6-layer homogeneous field, it's only the 3rd ever made. It's the first outside Tokyo for that. And we did it with the smallest ever team that's tried this kind of field in an anomaly zone before the anomaly. This is complete madness. Don't underestimate the task. These kinds of fields, as I said, they are not easy to do. So why did it work? I mean, besides the fact that the people on our team were all just amazing people, fantastic people, why did it work? I don't really know why we managed to pull this off. I can tell you my perspective. The second lesson is, if you want to do a complex ingress operation like this one, where everything has to go exactly right, be completely paranoid. I was completely paranoid that something would go wrong, and I kept involuntarily racking my brains to think of what that might be, and then putting something in place to prevent that problem. I ended up with spreadsheets everywhere, spreadsheets to track the keys that were being collected, spreadsheets to count the number of keys based on the link plan, which was also in the spreadsheet. The link plans are in the spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet would count how many keys each team needed, how many keys still needed to be collected, and which portals were the highest priority. On the day itself, the spreadsheets, the Intel operators would update the spreadsheet every time a portal was linked, and other spreadsheets would then update saying whether a particular team could progress, eliminating as much human error as possible. I did trial runs on Intel, following the spreadsheets, checking them, modified the plan to make sure, to cut down the time it would take, to make sure teams didn't have to run too far. And then doing trial runs again. Please don't ask me how many hours I spent on the plan, because I really don't want to know. Eventually I ran out of things to worry about, and so for about a week I was just a general nervous wreck. If you can get away without the nervous wreck part, but keep the complete paranoid part, then you'll get one of these done, I believe it. Mainly though, the success was because the agents involved, as I said, fantastic people. They really got behind the plan. They got excited by it. They, as much as possible, they knew what the plan was about. And by the second run through the plan, by our second try, they could pretty much do their part of the plan themselves, almost without guidance from Intel. So on each attempt we made, there was a 10-minute delay at the start because of technical problems. On each attempt, one of the teams made a bad link and had to fix it up with a Jarvis virus and run and get the key, get a replacement key. And we managed to do it. I just want to close this video with some challenges. So, first challenge, will your city be the first city where Resistance and Enlightened both make one of these simultaneously, one of these 6-layer fields? So your city has 2 6-layer fields at the same time of 2 different colours. Or, if some places cross-faction relations are not so great. So if you're on the Enlightened team, will your city be the first city to have a green 6-layer homogeneous field? And if you're on the Resistance, will the Resistance get 5 of these done before the Enlightened get 1? And that's about all I've got to say for this video. So thanks very much for watching, and this is Agent 57 Cell signing out.